Greetings, guys. This is White Raptor News Ministries. Trying to set up here for a show. Trying to get it right. Hope everybody's having a great day. Look, I've been studying gematria for a long time. I've looked at this flag. I don't know. We've probably seen the American flag who knows how many times in our life, right? But the star here, this star. Now, what I see, and it was the first time that I ever saw it, and you got to understand gematria, okay? And this is going to bust you up, okay? Israel's flag is 666. So how do I get there? Grab a pen and I'm going to show you how I get there. A flag, Israel's flag has a triangle inside of a triangle, okay? And a triangle has 3 sides, 3 points. 2 triangles has 6 points. So this causes 6 more additional points. And here's the kicker, because I've been teaching you guys about how these people are sorcerers, is the inside has 6 too, but what is a 6-sided shape? It's a hexagon. And what's a hexagon? A hex. It's a hex, folks. And I've been telling you that this is the reason why. Give me a second. Okay, guys, I'm going to take you on this ride with me so you get more of what I'm trying to say about sorcerers and stuff. Definition of maga in Latin: a witch. All right? So, what does this have to do with anything? Here we're at John 1:1. Bring it on down here a little bit. Bring it up. So, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This God here is a supreme divinity, figuratively a magistrate. Well, what's that got to do with anything? Because I make connections for you so you understand. Sorry. I'm going to show you what I mean. So, maga means a witch. All right? Definition of magus in Latin. That is not what I asked. Is referred to as a magician, which is a magic man. Now look, see? Magic, magician right there. What do you have in that? Magi. Because I'm teaching you guys through the etymology magi things moving slow. A skilled magician. Okay? So, this is why the word magi is in magistrate, the same way that pil is in pilgrimage, the same way grim is in pilgrimage. So, the language we're speaking is placed us underneath of a spell, which comes from this God here. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 Bible Hub. So, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. Okay? Now, what you got to understand is heaven is the head. Okay? And it is the heaved up place. This is why you have the word heave in heaven, because the heaven is a place within us. Jesus said that God's kingdom is not going to come with striking observability. Okay? For the kingdom of heaven is within. So when we talk about the 2 tablets of God here, images of the 10 Commandments, This is what they give you. They give you good old Charles Heston as Moses, carrying the 2 Hebrew tablets which the 10 commandments are written on. This is called externalization because images of the 2 hemispheres of the brain, because this is your Ark of the Covenant. Okay, the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So what you got to understand is before any war took place and Adam and Eve were first created, okay, this brain that you're looking at here was more than likely one brain. Adam and Eve were connected spiritually with one another, okay? One brain with the most high, one mind, the 2 of them, okay? And then what happened in heaven is you have your war, okay? The supreme creator, the spirit, the source, it creates this plane of existence, heaven and earth, right? And it creates all the animals, it creates the birds, it creates everything that walks upon the face of the earth. The supreme spirit creates. And that includes the Gentile race, okay? Now the Gentile race are nothing but a bunch of animals at this point in time. All right? They're like a freaking cow in a pasture, just moving about, eating and grazing, and they don't know anything. They don't know good. They don't know evil. There's nothing in the garden at this point in time in God's creation that's slaughtering each other and killing each other. Everything is herbivores. Even the lions. Everything's herbivores down here. And then when God creates it, the angels in heaven. Now what you got to understand is angels, demons, ghosts, devils, all spirits, seraphims, all fall underneath the same category and synonyms. They all mean the exact same thing. So in the spiritual realm, what happens is the Creator creates souls. Right? He creates souls with no spirit, and then he creates souls with his spirit. Okay? And the souls without his spirit fell into a lower mind, which is images of the cerebellum. So this war that's going on with us, this spiritual war that's going on, is going on between the 2 brains. Okay, the blue brain here, the blue brain here is the Ark of the Covenant, the left and right hemispheres of the brain, which were one until Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then they were split in wrath from the Most High. And this is why both men and women are always fighting each other and arguing with each other and batting each other's heads and beating each other up, because, you know, there's no balance. There's no more balance on this plane of existence. And that's rightly so because of darkness, you know, doing his job, if you understood that. So here down here is your cerebellum. Okay? And this is the ego mind. And when Jesus says that you will not see the kingdom of God coming with striking observability, he was talking about the kingdom of God is within. This is why we are the parts of our brain here. Images of the temple on the brain. Okay, these are your temples. Okay? When Jesus says, I will tear this temple down in 3 days, man, he's talking about what he can do in the mind, because Jesus understood where he's coming from. If Jesus existed, if he even existed, you know, because he understood the mind. Jesus disappeared at the age of 12. All right? The age of 12 is when he disappeared. 1 + 2 is 3. Strong's Concordance, number 12. So, in the Strong's Concordance here, the number 12, Abdon, means destruction. and ruin. So Jesus disappeared off grid at 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. This is destruction. And 3, the Trinity, Jesus represents the Trinity. Okay? And that is the angel of the abyss. Strong's Concordance number 3. So I'm trying to let you guys know that everything that the slave masters do in this plane of existence has duality in it. All right? So you might find a one that says Abaddon, where it says it's the angel of the abyss. And what did I just tell you? The angels, ghosts, demons, and devils, and all that shit are all one. When God created the spiritual realm, all right, that's what he did, is he created both good and evil at that point in time. It was already existent in heaven. He knew exactly what he was going to do and how he was going to do it, because he wants to put the souls, our souls, inside of flesh suits so we can see ourselves, our actions, the how we act and behave. Okay? If you don't have a flesh suit to move about in, because that's what our flesh suit is, it's a spaceship for us to move about in this plane of existence, and the wars that are taking place have to deal with both brains. The Ark of the Covenant, which those are the 10 commandments, folks. This is what your 10 commandments are on. Right there. And you know that. We don't need a Bible to tell us what's right or wrong if you have the Spirit on you. It's that simple. You know that it's wrong. So when people say, like a lot of atheists, I was listening to the atheist show the other day, and it's called The Line, and the caller calls in and they're doing their thing and they're talking about pornography. And atheists are out there, they're telling people, well, you shouldn't feel ashamed about watching pornography. There's nothing wrong with watching pornography. And to me, that's horrifying. That it plainly lets me know that these people here don't have the Spirit on them, because either they don't know what it takes to turn these girls into porn stars. All right, these are children that have been locked up in cages and had men, dozens of men climbing on them. By the time they're 10 years old, they've probably had 100 people climbing on them already. Okay, that's how pornography is made. By taking a child and raping it over and over and over until it psychologically conforms, because it doesn't want to have the bottoms of its feet beat anymore. It doesn't want to have somebody taking a torch to the bottoms of their feet anymore and burning them with cigarettes anymore. And it doesn't want them doing any of that stuff where you can have men climbing on top of you and at the same time gagging you, chaining you, beating on you, tearing you down, and destroying your soul, your spirit. And then what they do is they release these girls on the public. Okay? Well, who releases them on the public? So we showed you Genesis 1:1. Let's come over here. Or John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word. Okay? And then I want to get to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, Bible Hub. Because what I really want you to pay attention to, and listen, 14 minutes in, I ain't even got to my point yet. Elohim, okay? Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, Bible Hub. So when God creates the heaven and earth here, okay, that's the beginning. See, so in heaven, this war that takes place in heaven is God creates everything. This is the beginning of creation. Okay? It's the beginning of a time construct. In the beginning, this God here is Elohim. Okay? And that's what this lesson's about, man. Because I'm going to show you that the Elohim, who call themselves gods and goddesses, and how great they are all devils. They're gods, but they're gods with no spirit of life. I don't even know if I'd say spirit of life, because life, living, to live, the devil lived, all have L-I in it. Religion has L-I in it. Politics have L-I in it. Why? Because they are all a lie. So when this God, Elohim, creates the heavens and earth, okay, this is an imposter like everything else on the face of the earth. This Elohim is not the supreme spirit, but it is something that was used of a supreme, something higher than it. Okay, so the God that was the spirit source, that of love and kindness and tenderness, creates this plane of existence, creates us like a bunch of freaking cows in the pasture, just walking around and grazing and eating, and we don't know anything. Okay, so then the creator, or Lucifer, or whoever, the beast, the dragon, the devil, whatever you want to call him, in heaven looks down. The angels from above are looking down upon the Gentile, because the Gentile aren't angels. You understand that? They're just a part of creation that don't know anything. Okay, this is where they get the evolution at. This is where it all stems from. So now those angels in heaven are looking down, and they want to rule the creation. You know, they're looking at God like, hey man, let us go down there, man. We want to blow these things up, man. We want to kill them. We want to have all kinds of fun with them. We want to fornicate with them. See, because they're spiritual beings. They want to come down here, and they want to take over our minds, because the mind is an antenna. Okay? And these are spiritual beings. They're paranormal human beings. Paranormal Gentile. All right, and this is why you have the word para in parables, because para means something that is of a dark world. Paranormal, parables, means destroyed. Well, let's just take a look. I want you guys to see these things yourself. You know, I always tell everybody, you know, go and investigate all this stuff yourself. Because once you start breaking down words and you start looking at them and everything, it means irregular, abnormal, or altered. So the Bible has been altered, folks. All right? It's that simple. So when people say, well, why doesn't the Bible make sense? Because duality. Okay? The Spirit said, or whoever said, you know, look, don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or, you know, you're going to die that day. Meaning that you're going to spiritually, your soul, the spirit, if you had a spirit on you, the spirit on you, and you're born into this realm, then it's imperative for us to just walk in the truth. Once you learn the truth, you know, to walk in it, to be truthful. Because, you know, there's a lot of times I want to walk away from this stuff, because it's a battle, man. It's a long bout, man. This is a war. It's a spiritual war that's going on. We're sent down here at war to let Satan know, man. Now, a lot of ministers, so you know now that para means altered. A lot of ministers of Christianity are, they're going to tell you that the parables are perfect. The Bible is a perfect manuscript. And I didn't agree with that, because I knew that all the lies existed in the Bible. You know, how can it be a perfect manuscript if there's lies in it? Now, the atheist argument is that if you find one lie inside of the Bible, then it discredits the entire Bible. And that is an error. Why? Because when we're born into this plane of existence, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, Bible Hub. Because this God here who creates himself, remember now, this is God Elohim, that's something that is used of something that's supreme. So the Spirit ordained angels and demons and devils and ghosts and all that shit, okay, for his glory, to do his will. So then he creates a man. This God, Elohim, creates a man. And he creates this man in his own image. Okay? And in the image of God, he creates him. Self. Okay? When we look at the word him, it means demonstrative sense of entity, properly self. Now, self is big in this. Why? Definition of self. For a couple of reasons. Number one, because all of what I'm going to teach you is about Elohim. And you have the word elf in Elohim, and an elf is a magical, mythical, mythology. So your conscious awareness of your own identity, and here's the word we're looking at, your individuality. So when we born into this plane of existence, defining individuality means that the quality or character of a particular person and thing that distinguishes them from others of the same kind, especially when strongly marked. Wow, strongly marked. Especially when strongly marked. Maybe I've been marked because I've learned all this stuff. So self means individuality. Now look at the word individuality. What do you have? Duality. Division. Division from what? The mind. The mind that was once one mind, everything that was united, split itself into duality and good and evil. You will be like God, knowing good and evil. So the Bible has to have evil in it, or it is not. This plane is not the tree of knowledge of both good and evil. If we don't see that's the whole purpose of the Bible being written that way, where you're like, what the fuck? What the hell's going on here with slavery? This God wants slavery? This God, allows you to have 10-year-olds. That shit's all written in there, right? For you to think, oh my God, that's kind of a little bit, off. A king sleeping with 10-year-olds. It's kind of off, don't you think? I'd call that a little bit pedophile. Wouldn't you? So when we're born with our individuality, what happens into this plane, we fall into duality. And this is the reason why the Bible has been changed. It had to be changed. Jesus said to them, he said right here, man, do not give to the pigs what is holy. 7:6 Matthew, something, I think. Okay, so he's telling you here, Jesus said, do not give dogs what is holy. Okay, the dogs right here in this case are the animals. Okay, this is why God, spelled backwards, is a dog. Because those down here on this plane of existence were animals. They were just animals with spirits in them. Okay? And those dogs, what is holy, is the scripture. And the very word holy, with L-Y, is a whole lie. It's all a whole lie. Come on, baby. Wow, my computer. I got all these windows open. That's why. Here you go. See, lie. Cognate lie. Yeah, a lot of different meanings, man. You got to find the one. But L-Y means the lie. Come on. Anybody who wrote this language, as detailed as they have, then you'd start understanding why we're under a spell. Give me 1 second. By these dogs. When Jesus is telling you not to cast your pearls before swine, what's he telling you? Do not cast your parables. This is what it means. Parables. The pearls are your parables. Don't give these pearls to the swine, because if you do, they're going to trample these parables that were written by by a spiritual being, guided to give the laws. There are laws that you are to stand by. You can't dismiss one law or another law. Look, the commandments are on your tablets. They're on your head. So if it never even mentioned homosexuality in the Bible, but it does, and it mentions it quite often. But if it did never mention it, and you as a person walk into a bar, you're completely naive, you completely don't know a damn thing about where you're at, what you're doing, or anything like that, and you walk into a gay bar, and a bunch of men come up and like hitting on you and shit, man. Right? And you ain't ever seen it, been around it, don't know anything about it. How would that make you feel? You would feel uncomfortable. Okay? You wouldn't like it. Okay? Well, that's a person, you know, right away that has some kind of moral code. Because Satan is trying to destroy the moral code. How does Satan do that? By breaking men and women up. Once Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, division took place in the mind, and two halves were created, a masculine half of the brain and a feminine half of the brain. And these two brains here, without balance, without being in this love, right? Without being with a mate, eternally tied together with this mate, instead of out down here fornicating with everything that comes along, then you're setting yourself up for, unlevel scale, man. It's the scales are not level when you're split in this duality that we've fallen into, because we were given duality, which now means that where Adam and Eve were once one with one another. Okay, they were split in two, torn apart in wrath, and then became individuals. Individuality fell into duality, which means that we are being taught. In order for the Spirit to teach, it allowed the ego in the lower mind that is the cerebellum, which I talked to you, because the bellum means war. Come on. Bellum. I type in bellum, it brings you to parabellum. Parabellum means war. So when we were cast down to the cerebrum, or the cerebellum, that is the lower mind, which we have been cast to, which is this false reality that we're living in. This is why they sing, row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream. Right? You hear it on the television now. You hear it in their commercials. They're telling you. My dad sits there and listens to that commercial at least a half dozen times a day. Like, and then I go in there and I tell him, Dad, see, you hear it? They're telling you straight out. Life is but a dream. It's the hind brain of the vertebrae, the animal brain. That's what I just said to you guys, that what was down here were just animals. There was nothing. Their brains were completely empty, like a computer. Doesn't have anything until you plug it in, you start downloading shit, you start studying, taking your notes and putting stuff together, downloading pictures. Okay, so in the meantime, we're all just down here walking around like a bunch of animals, like a bunch of cows in a pasture that don't know a damn thing. So Satan, he wants this this guy with this creation, this angel with its ego, it has, God's looking down on his creation and he loves it just the way it is. Well, when I say God, I mean Source, the Spirit, the Most High. It's just fine. But now he's got to teach us. If you're going to create souls and spirits, and you're trying to teach a soul and a spirit what's right and wrong, don't you have to create both good and evil? Isn't that the whole purpose of what this is? That's what duality is. It's both good and evil. So now we know that both good and evil exist. So now God's like, he doesn't protest anything. He allows the angels, the demons, the devils, those that want to rule this plane of existence, he allows them to come down here for a time. In Revelations, that's what it tells us. So, or it tells us that the devil knows his time is short. Now, seriously, Source, the point of singularity, can dissolve anything that it wants with a single thought. Where you no longer exist, where you no longer get any more reincarnations. He could throw, or I'm sorry to even use the word he, because of this. In their original incorporeal form, spirits are generally considered to be genderless, as gender is tied to physical biology. So you have to have a body in order to be a man or a woman. Now understand, so the Creator, when he creates these angels, they have celestial bodies. Okay? They're not really flesh suits, but they are. So he allows these angels that go to war with them, the 200 angels that Lucifer's whispering into everybody's ears, I'm going to be like God, I'm going to be higher than God, I'm going to be better than God, God's going to be below me, I'm going to exalt myself above his throne, I'm better than God. Okay? That was the ego. That's the cerebellum. That's the mind at war with the higher mind, the Ark of the Covenant. You see, the Ark of the Covenant is that voice inside of our heads when we're getting ready to do something we shouldn't be doing. Like when you're cheating on your wife, you got a voice in your head that's telling you that you shouldn't be doing it. But the problem is, you're all out there doing it. And I'm not lying to you when I tell you 70 to 80 of you people out there, 90%, are all out screwing each other every which way that you possibly can, man. In the parks, in your cars, in grocery stores, restaurants, on the streets, everywhere that you guys can cheat, hotel rooms, all of it. You're going to find a way to do it because you do not have the spirit of truth on you. You have the spirit of lies on you. Why? Because God permitted those angels to come down here. Okay? And when I say God permitted, I'm talking about the lower God, God Elohim. You got to understand that the Elohim are your trinities. This is where you get all your trinities. Look at that. They just shut my microphone off right in the middle of a stream. At 33:52, they cut my microphone off. Give me a second. Okay, before I move on, I wanted to also finish out this sentence here. However, the answer varies significantly depending on the cultural, spiritual, or religious lens, through which you are looking. You see, because I keep trying to tell you that the world, when you look out your eyes and you see the world out there, that you think that you are viewing the world from outside in. Okay? What you're doing is viewing the world from the inside out. Your eyes are projecting what you see in this reality that we live, because it's a false reality, because something evil came down here and took over this plane of existence and was among billions of animals, people, without spirits, or with souls, but without spirits. So now the angels are down here. So when it tells you the Spirit of God was hovering over the deep, that's the spirit of the angels that were tossed down to this plane of existence that call themselves gods, the Elohim. Okay? So when the Elohim were down here, because heaven and earth were once connected with one another, and this is why Satan was able to move among the earth and the heavens. He was the only one that was given a pass where he could move between both worlds. But that came to an end once the firmament was created. Now, it's quite possible that the firmament, Genesis, the first chapter, might not even be the first chapter, because it's possible that the firmament might not have been created until after Adam and Eve ate from the fruit, and then the firmament was created. But in this story here, they're wanting you to believe that Genesis is the first book of the Bible, when clearly Revelations is the book of the Bible. And because these people do everything backwards and inverted and upside down and all that shit, Paladines and these words and these crafty little words within words, they know exactly what they've done. They've written the code themselves. This is why they know exactly what the Bible is. This is why Christians will tell you that the Bible is a perfect manuscript. So it's because of the Elohim here. I think it was this one here. To live. Oh, that was when I was telling you about Jesus' number. I might have closed it out. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created mankind. Gematria calculator. I don't know why it does that. It does it every time I say it, man. It pisses me off. I didn't say geometry. I said gematria. Gematria calculator. When you start seeing this stuff for yourself, you can't deny it. So mankind that was created on the 6th day is 66 in simple gematria. So mankind adds up to 66. Mankind created on the 6th day, that is 666. Okay? Which brings me here to where I started this lesson. So why is Israel, which is 666, okay? And this, I just read it the other day. Just yesterday when I did my live stream, I told you that this was first the flag of Judah, okay? And then it became the Star of David. This is what you put on your Christmas trees, the Star of David, okay? King David. And then it became the flag of Israel. And then I spotted 666, 6 points, 6 triangles, and then a hexagon. In the middle, that's 666. So this is why, watch here, Jerusalem. This is why USA is in Jerusalem. So I'm telling you guys that these people, these entities, these demons, these devils, these fallen angels, these beasts, everything, this entire plane of existence that's what they are. They're all freaking beasts. They're animals. So because when Satan got down here as a watcher, that's what he was sent down to do. And by the way, they were sent down as watchers to watch how I don't know, how everything grazed in the pasture and how peaceful and loving and kind and tender and no death or anything existed until those angels got down here, the watchers, and then the watchers, they started participating instead of observing. And when they saw that the daughters of men became fine, the sons of God took for themselves all that they chose. Now, the sons of God in this parable is Israel. But this is why Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Because Israel, short form IS, is Isis. Also, Ra, the sun god, is Ra. Ra is the sun god. And then you have El. El is the Almighty. Strong's Concordance, number 420, or that's not what I wanted. Sorry about that. Strong's Concordance 410, Bible Hub. J Concordance. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. 410. See how it did that? Knows it doesn't do that shit. So 410 in the Strong's Concordance, God's definition is El. Okay? El, A-L-E, that is alcohol, by the way, spirits. Okay? And El are idols. Everybody should be like, if I was at a concert right now with 200,000 people, you'd all be like, yeah, this is some seriously killer stuff. No, it's not killer stuff. This is life-freeing information. This will help you get on the way to understanding that we live in a matrix. Okay? God, Elohim, mighty, mighty one, God's power. God's power. That's one right there. Apostrophe S is God's power is one right there. Mighty one. And here's the kicker, though. The mighty, the Almighty, especially the Almighty. See, Jesus was trying to tell us that all of us are almighty. It's us that are almighty. We are more powerful than these beings with souls that don't have spirits. This is why they flee from people like me. And believe me, they flee from me when I start talking stuff. They can't stand it. It's the strangest thing in the world, man. Just go out there and talk to somebody about 666 and watch. Learn something. Learn a few of these things. And then just go out there and tell somebody, walk up to a Christian and ask them if they ever learned about the riddle of 666. None of them know it. Doesn't it have something to do with Satan? That's the number one thing they say every time. Yes, it has something to do with darkness. Because darkness is Genesis chapter 1 verse 2. Might be 4. Formless and empty and without form, covered in dark. Covered in dark. Well, folks, dark means black. So, yeah, darkness. Dark, but darkness, Bible Hub, is figuratively misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness. So the war that took place in heaven cast Satan down to the lower mind. Anytime that I start talking about things externally, I mean within our own minds. Everything that is happening with you is happening inside your mind. The evil doesn't exist out there. Only what you project through your mind is the evil that is out there. But it's a hard, difficult thing to get away from when evil owns the media, the news, the military, the politics, all of it. Because you have lie in the word. And you have lie, and this is what's really strange. Look at this. You have lie in light, all right? And then you have arc in darkness. Now, is that not mind-blowing? Huh? Because I have been studying this stuff so freaking long. Sometimes when I find things, I blow my own mind. I blow it right out of the water, man. It only takes to type in a couple of words before your eyes are popping out of your head because you start seeing just how dirty the language is. Also, they say that EA is Inky. And you start Inky, all these gods, they're all gods of magic and power and water and sky and earth and fire and all that, okay? All these gods, okay, they exist behind the veil, and that's who you're worshiping. You're worshiping Apollo, man. You're worshiping Mercury, and you're worshiping the sea gods and the fire gods and the sun gods and all the other gods. And that's what they want. When you're sent down here, that's what you're sent down here for. You're sent down here, you're given rules, okay, through a Bible that we're taught from atheists is no good, because if you find one lie, then the Bible's no good. No, it takes discernment is what it takes. You can't discount something that was written from paranormal entities, because those that are born on the sixth day of creation, they're entities. All right, folks, I think that's about it, man. I'm going to cut out of here. I hope you have a wonderful day. This stuff is the most precious information that one could ever get. So, I hope you guys cling on to what it is I've been sharing, trying to teach you. Because, man, I just, there's a lot of parallel words and stuff that are in front of us, man, and that we are under a spell from El. That's why we live in hell. That's what this place is. It's hell. The fallen angels, all of them. They tell you, so we have Michael, and then we have Aziel, and then we have all the devil angels too. Okay? Well, names of the 7 angels that fell from heaven. Well, here's. Give me a second. So here you have Lucifer, Mammon, Asmodeus, Leviathan, Beelzebub, Satan, Belphegor. And there's another one in here too that doesn't seem to be mentioned, and that one would be okay. Remphan is a false idol. Okay, I just learned this one today from a friend of mine who I was talking to. He blew me out of the water when he said this, because I showed him the Israel flag, and I said, do you know what flag this is and what it represents? And he said it right off the bat. Yeah, it's polluted in 666. So he pulls it all up and he starts showing me all the information. It's only mentioned in the Bible the one time. So if you want to go and check that out about what Remphan is, because watch this. Images of the Remphan flag. There it is, buddy. You see, when you're seeking the truth all the time like I am, it's all presented to you. Okay? You have to really want what I'm sharing with you, man. To step out this false reality that you're living in and understand what I'm sharing with you will bring you strength. It'll bring you power. And you don't need any kind of weapon, because you when you're walking in the higher mind, you're untouchable. Nothing can touch you. Okay? It's only when you're down here in the lower mind and you're participating with the drugs that you can get yourself killed, an OD. When you're playing with guns inside of a house, you can shoot the other person on accident or on purpose. When you're robbing people, okay? That's what the lower mind is projecting from your tetragrammaton. Okay. Sorry. Tetragrammaton. So when I look at this word here, it almost looks robotic. Like a robot. Tetra is a game. Right? It's a box. Tetra is a box, folks. We're in a box. We're in a simulation. Images of Tetra. Might be reaching here. Everything else I've shared up to this moment is absolute. But Tetris is a game that's inside of a box. Tetragrammaton. When I think of Tetragrammaton, this is what I think of. This is what I think of. When I hear the word Tetragrammaton, this is what I think of right here. You know, you have the Vatican. The Vatican has its own, Vatican Square. And each of these things, they could all be portals to other worlds, man. We don't know. Because the ones that have imprisoned us here, when mankind, they're telling us today that, we've evolved and we're way smarter than our ancient ancestors were. That is a line of shit. We have been dumbed down so far, we don't even know what our spiritual sense is about, man. You lost your sense when you're born into this plane of existence. So, man, it's just, this stuff is mind-blowing. I mean, you go and look at CERN. I could make more connections to all of this stuff right here, especially when you start talking about CERN and you start looking at these videos and stuff. Images of CERN. And then scene when Tron is placed in the game. Maybe it'll pick it up. Tron. That is not Tron. Scene when Tron is... Tron. Let's try this one. Merges. Damn it. Here it is, right here. Okay, give me 1 second. I want to turn on the captions so you guys can, or you could go listen to it, but I'll go ahead and I'll play it. Now watch the 666 and stuff too, because I see it all the time. Code 6. Because mankind is 666. Okay? So the machine's talking to him right now. You can't hear the machine. You shouldn't have come back there. Hey, it's a big master controller program everybody been talking about. Sit right here and make yourself comfortable. So this is the machine that's talking to him right now, because man has merged with the machine already a long time ago. He downloaded his conscience to a machine. This is what they want. That's what I'm looking for right there. That's CERN right there in front of your face. Look at it. Look at it. You can't deny it. That is CERN. Right there in front of your face. Let's find a good one. All images. This is the one I'm looking at. See that right there? Yeah, you see that? That's that right there. That's right. You see this right here? That's this right here. That's Jesus coming out of the CERN. You see, because these entities, the primordial gods, the ones with celestial bodies, they were the ones that were trying to create a clone. The same way we're trying to clone today, because history repeats itself. Okay? They've been trying to clone now for who knows how long. They started cloning back in 91 when they first cloned that sheep. They're probably trying to serve us clone food right now, man, because everything is just absolutely destroyed. It's all poisoned. Everything, it's all for purpose. It's all for us to say, what the hell's going on in this place, man? It's like I said in this earlier, man. Imagine living for 300 years listening to the political service, the arena that's going on there. You'd realize probably after, like, it takes about 30 or 40 years before you realize, you know what, these guys talk a mean game, but nothing's really being said, nothing's being done of what they're saying they're going to do. That's for damn sure. So, that is CERN. Also, this is additional information about what is happening with us. You see this spiral here? This stuff, they do this stuff, they externalize everything. A spiral means spirit. Because when we're born into this place here, this realm, when we're coming in, we're coming from one side of the edge, or the egg of life, because the woman's egg is the edge of creation. It's the matrix. Sorry to say it, when you birth a child into this realm, you are giving birth to a child that's going to be enslaved to this system. This is why we were given such short life expectancies, and cancer and sickness. It's all weaved in our DNA from the lower God Elohim that are being used of a supreme creator, the Elohim that create vaccinations, the Elohim that create sickness, the Elohim that create pills and drugs and alcohol, the Elohim that create the evil, the Elohim that are used of a supreme creator. So when we're born through the sperm cell hits the egg, okay? The egg is the edge. That's the etymology for egg, is an edge, all right? And the etymology for an edge is, so egg is an edge because it's what separates the spiritual world from the material world. So when your semen, the man's semen, which is the serpent seed that was created, the flesh suit, folks, was created as a soul trap because it needs your soul to operate the flesh suit. So it's your soul that's being fed off of. And then your battery, what they sold you to this area, because how do you think they got you down here? What was it that Satan said to whoever it was in the angels that made them all listen to him and think, oh man, okay, that sounds pretty good. He told them that in one of these bodies that you can have children and that you can fornicate and that you can, which means that they knew they had knowledge of something already spiritually where they were able to mind sync and have a sexual orgasm through the mind. I mean, we're having a sexual orgasm in the mind too. That's what you don't understand. Look, if you are Humpty Dumptying and someone pulls your brain out of your head during the Humpty Dumpty, guess what? Your body goes limp. Someone takes your soul out, it's not there, the body goes limp. Okay? The body is already dead. That's what you need to understand. This is why they call it a corporation, because the government is a corporation that is all dead. They're the walking dead. They made a movie for you guys about it. Anyways, I did an hour and 17 minutes last night on one of these, and I just did this one here. And, you know, my content, folks, can't be denied, man. I stick it right in front of your face. But you know what? People, they used to come into my room and they'd call me a heretic, a liar, and all the things that, you know, I get attacked. If a person attacks you, okay, understand that we live in duality and we're better off not allowing ourselves to get upset about anything, okay? When you're getting upset about something, that's the lower you in chaos from what this world has done to us. You know, it's poisoned our brain, it's poisoned our bodies, it's giving us drugs. That's what this world is. It's amazing to me that people can't see that the Bible's saying that this is a world of sin, and an atheist says that sin doesn't exist. Well, if you take away the sin, then guess what? Duality doesn't exist. Therefore, the whole frickin' Bible is a lie about good and evil. So the atheist way is out the door, Christian's way is out the door, Judaism's way is out the door, and Iran's way out the door. And that's why all three of those flags today that I showed you, here, give me a second. All the flags that I showed you today, this one here, why is Iran, who we're at war with, and Israel, and America, and USA in Israel, all together? Why is this picture made today, huh? Probably someone, well, we're at war with Iran, you know, and Israel stands in the middle of it. That's why. Makes sense to me, right? When you look at the stars, what do the stars represent? This is your movie 50 Shades of Grey, because that's what America is. You are shady motherfuckers that are running this country, man. They lied to you about the pilgrimage. They lied to you about Thanksgiving. They lied to you about Christmas and 4th of July and every other pagan holiday that we practice while we're down here. Not only do we practice it, we lie to our children about it, man. And everybody tells you it's just in fun. Oh, bullshit. Screw Christmas. You want to make it about Christmas and make it for fun? Don't do Christmas on Christmas Day. You want to gift your children? Gift them. Gift them any other time. Gift them a week later, 2 weeks later, 2 weeks before, man. But don't do it on Christmas Day, man, because that is pagan worship, and that will leave you trapped in this realm. Okay, folks, this is hell. We're living in hell. It's telling you it's hell. You got 666 right here, right on the freaking flag of Israel. So I figured it out. Good luck. I hope you guys hear it. Much love to everybody, though. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man. Today I am trying to love everybody, even my own enemies. I'm trying to love them. It's a very difficult walk to do, but you know, I'm coming down from this download, this information, and when I first came across it, it was hard to articulate what it is I was trying to say. And You know, and then everybody denying it in my family causes problems. So this information, if you jump on board with it, you're going to find out that you jumped on a train all by yourself. And that's a fact. That's what I am. I'm on a train by myself. Love all you, man. Wish you all the best. This is White Raptor News Ministries.